Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. Time is not money. Time is life. Money can be lost and regained, but the minutes you waste can never be purchased back. Every tick of the clock is a piece of your destiny, either invested or squandered. You are either making time serve your purpose or watching it slip away into regret. Time is life, not money. Money can always be regained if it is lost, but once time has passed, it is gone forever. Every moment that slips through your fingers is a piece of your existence that will never return. People often say time is money, but that's a shallow perspective. Time is infinitely more valuable than money because money is only a tool, while time is the essence of your very life. When you waste time, you waste your own potential, your own opportunities, and your own future. Think about the way people chase after money with urgency. They will sacrifice sleep, comfort, and even relationships to earn a paycheck. Yet when it comes to time, the most valuable currency they have, they give it away freely to distractions, meaningless conversations, and habits that drain their energy. The truth is, the way you treat your time reveals the way you treat your life. If you don't value your minutes, you don't truly value yourself. Every tick of the clock is a reminder that life is moving forward, whether you make use of it or not. Money can sit in a bank account untouched and still exist, but time cannot be stored away. It cannot be paused, saved, or frozen. It moves forward with or without your permission, and the only question is whether you are going to use it with intention or let it slip into waste. This makes time far more powerful than money, because while money is neutral until you spend it, time is always in motion, constantly being spent on something. When you understand that time is life, you begin to look at your choices differently. You start asking yourself, what am I truly buying with the minutes I spend? Every moment invested in study, growth, prayer, or building your vision is a purchase toward a better future. Every moment spent on distractions, excuses, and procrastination is a purchase toward regret. You are always trading your time for something, and that trade determines the quality of your life. Money can build businesses, buy houses, or create comfort, but it cannot buy you another hour of life. If you had all the money in the world, but no time left to live, that wealth would mean nothing. On the other hand, if you had little money, but the wisdom to use your time wisely, you could create opportunities, build wealth, and shape your destiny. Time is the foundation upon which money, success, and even relationships are built. Look at the greatest achievements in history, from inventions to empires. They were not created in a single day, but were built through the careful use of time. Great leaders, thinkers, and creators did not have more hours than you. They had the same 24 hours, the same minutes ticking away, but they chose to direct their time into actions that compounded into greatness. That is why some rise to power and influence, while others remain stagnant. The difference lies not in intelligence or opportunity, but in how they use their time. When people say they don't have time, what they really mean is they haven't learned to prioritize. Time is not lacking, but focus is. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The wealthy, the poor, the successful, the struggling, they all live under the same clock. The ones who build wealth and impact are those who treat every minute as a gift, not something to be wasted on what doesn't matter. Time also has a spiritual element. It is a gift given you to fulfill your calling, your purpose, and your assignment in life. When you misuse your time, you are not only robbing yourself, but also the people who could benefit from your potential. Every minute you invest in developing yourself, serving others, or building your vision carries eternal value. It's not just about living longer. It's about making the time you have count for something greater. Consider how differently people would act if they truly believed time was life. They would guard their minutes as carefully as they guard their wallets. They would stop allowing distractions, toxic relationships, and meaningless activities to steal from them. They would measure their progress not by how much money they earn, but by how they use their time to create impact, to grow, to fulfill their purpose. Time is not a tool to manage. It is life itself to be honored. The truth is, your life is measured not in dollars, but in minutes. The way you spend your time is the story you are writing with your life. Every decision, every habit, every action is ink on the page of your existence. If you misuse money, you can always earn it back. If you misuse time, you are writing chapters of regret that cannot be erased. Time is the most precious possession you will ever have, and until you recognize it as life itself, you will never truly live with intention. Small, consistent actions compound into results far greater than most people imagine. The mistake many make is believing that massive change requires massive effort all at once, when in reality, it is the steady repetition of small steps that creates transformation. Just like drops of water can carve a canyon over time, the little habits you practice daily have the power to shape your entire future. Consistency is the multiplier that turns small efforts into extraordinary outcomes. And the people who understand this principle rise above those who only act when they feel inspired. Think of the way a seed grows into a tree. It doesn't shoot upward overnight. It grows little by little, day by day, stretching roots deeper into the soil and pushing upward toward the light. At first, the change is almost invisible, but with time, the results are undeniable. In the same way, small, consistent actions may feel insignificant at the start, but when repeated faithfully, they produce results that become impossible to ignore. The slow process creates strong roots that cannot be shaken by storms. The danger lies in underestimating the value of the small. Many people dismiss small steps because they don't look powerful in the moment. They want immediate success, instant breakthroughs, or sudden wealth, so they abandon the small actions that would have led them there. What they fail to see is that the small, when done consistently, compounds into momentum, and momentum is what carries you across the finish line. By neglecting the little things, they rob themselves of the future rewards those little things were building. Discipline is what keeps small actions alive. Without discipline, you start and stop, you try and quit, you build and abandon. Discipline fuels consistency, and consistency fuels compounding. When you do something every day, it doesn't just shape your external results, it shapes your identity. Every time you take a small step toward your vision, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. Eventually, the identity becomes so strong that the behavior becomes natural. That is how small actions change who you are at the core. Consider the way financial compounding works. A small investment, when left untouched and continually added to, grows into massive wealth over time because of compound interest. The same principle applies to your habits, your skills, and your mindset. Every book you read adds a little knowledge. Every workout adds a little strength. Every hour of practice adds a little mastery. One moment doesn't seem significant, but over months and years, the results multiply until you are unrecognizable from the person who began. Consistency also builds trust, both within yourself and with others. When you consistently show up for your goals, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. And that self-trust creates confidence. Others begin to notice your reliability too. They see that you are not just a person who talks about dreams, but one who steadily takes steps toward them. This kind of reputation cannot be bought or faked. It can only be earned through the compounding effect of consistent action. Small, consistent actions also create resilience. When challenges come, the habits you've built act like armor, protecting you from being easily shaken. A person who has been consistently building themselves is not easily derailed by one bad day, one failure, or one obstacle. The momentum they've built carries them forward, while someone who only acts occasionally is more likely to quit when faced with resistance. Consistency builds endurance, and endurance ensures that you keep moving even when the road is difficult. Another hidden power of consistent action is that it attracts opportunities. When you keep working on your craft, when you keep showing up to improve, people notice. Doors begin to open because others respect the dedication you've shown. Consistency makes you stand out in a world full of people who quit at the first sign of difficulty. Those who stay the course, even with small steps, position themselves for breakthroughs that others miss simply because they gave up too soon. The beauty of small, consistent actions is that they don't require perfection. You don't need to do everything at once or get everything right. You just need to keep moving forward, little by little. Progress is the goal, not perfection. Over time, the small imperfections are overshadowed by the sheer weight of consistent effort. The compound effect doesn't care if every day is perfect. It only cares that you keep showing up. The reward goes to the one who refuses to stop. In the end, the compounding power of small, consistent actions is one of the greatest forces you can harness in life. It requires patience, faith, and discipline, but it produces results that cannot be denied. Every great achievement, every legacy, every empire has been built on this principle. Those who embrace it stop chasing quick fixes and start building with intention, knowing that the steady power of consistency will eventually bring forth the extraordinary. Every minute is a seed, and what you do with it determines what kind of harvest your life will produce. Just as a farmer cannot expect a field to grow without planting something, you cannot expect your life to flourish if you are not intentional with how you spend your moments. Each minute carries the potential to create growth, impact, and transformation, but only if you choose to plant it with purpose. If you waste the seed of a minute, that opportunity is gone forever, and no amount of wishing can bring it back. When you understand time as seed, you begin to see that every action, every choice, and every thought is like planting something into the soil of your life. Some seeds produce fruit, others produce weeds, but they all produce something. If you plant seeds of laziness, fear, and distraction, you will reap frustration and regret. If you plant seeds of discipline, faith, and growth, you will reap progress, peace, and prosperity. The soil of time does not discriminate. It will return to you whatever you put into it. A single seed may look small and insignificant, yet within it lies the potential for abundance. 1 minute of study may not seem like much, but over years it can create wisdom. 1 minute of prayer may feel simple, but repeated daily it builds a life of spiritual strength. 1 minute of exercise may feel minor, but practiced consistently it transforms health and energy. The compounding effect of planning minute after minute with intention leads to a life that blossoms in ways that casual observers often call overnight success. The tragedy is that many people throw away their minutes as if they are worthless. They spend them on distractions, arguments, and meaningless pursuits, never realizing that those minutes are seeds being planted into their future. Just as neglecting a field produces weeds, neglecting your time produces a harvest you do not want. Life does not allow for empty ground. Something will always grow. The question is not whether you are planning, but what you are planning. Each minute also has multiplying power. A seed does not just produce one fruit, it produces many, and inside that fruit are more seeds. In the same way, a single minute spent in learning can create opportunities that multiply for years to come. A single minute spent encouraging someone can shift the course of their life and create ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. When you choose to plant your minutes wisely, the harvest often exceeds what you imagine because one seed produces far more than itself. The discipline of treating every minute as a seed requires mindfulness. You must guard your time the way a farmer guards his field. He doesn't allow just anything to be scattered into his soil because he knows the harvest depends on what is planted. In the same way, you cannot afford to let distractions, negativity, or carelessness sow seeds into your life. Protecting your minutes is protecting your destiny. To give your time away carelessly is to surrender the harvest you could have had. This perspective also shifts how you view ordinary tasks. Washing the dishes, studying a page, writing a paragraph, making a phone call. All of these may seem small, but they are seeds. Over time, those seeds build habits, and habits build character. The person who invests minutes in small acts of order and discipline becomes someone capable of handling greater responsibility. Nothing is wasted when every minute is seen as a seed, because even the smallest act builds the foundation for greater things. There is also a spiritual weight to every minute you plant. Each moment carries the opportunity to honor God, to serve others, or to advance your calling. When you see your minutes as seeds of eternal value, you begin to live with greater purpose. You no longer measure your days by what you earned or acquired, but by what you invested into things that matter beyond yourself. This is why some lives echo through generations, because their minutes were planted with intention into soil that produced impact far beyond their lifetime. Consider the difference between two people. One spends their minutes scrolling on aimlessly, while the other spends the same minutes reading, learning, and building. Over time, their harvest will look drastically different. The first will look back and wonder where the years went, while the second will look around and see the fruit of their labor. The same minutes were given to both, but the seeds they planted determine the life they now live. Your minutes are equal to anyone else's, but your harvest will depend on what you sow. The truth is that every single day is a field filled with seeds waiting to be planted. You have 24 hours, and within those hours are countless opportunities to sow into your health, your relationships, your faith, your work, and your vision. Each decision adds up, and the harvest always arrives in due time. Whether it is the fruit of growth or the weeds of regret depends entirely on how you chose to treat your minutes. Every minute is a seed, and the life you live is simply the garden you've grown from what you've planted. The clock is your servant, not your enemy, but most people live as if it is chasing them down and stealing away their future. They complain that there are not enough hours in the day, as though time were a thief robbing them of opportunity, when in reality the clock is neutral. It does not work against you unless you refuse to put it to work for you. The truth is that the same 24 hours that frustrate one person can empower another, depending on how they use them. The difference is in perspective and discipline, not in the number of minutes granted. When you see the clock as your servant, you begin to assign your hours a purpose. Instead of drifting through the day hoping to be productive, you command the time to work in your favor. Each block of minutes becomes a worker in your service, building your vision shaping your growth and creating your future. Just as a wise leader gives each employee a role to fulfill, you must give each hour an assignment. Unassigned time becomes wasted time, but directed time becomes productive time. The problem for many people is that they allow the clock to dictate their emotions rather than their actions. They panic as deadlines approach. They fear the passage of years, and they feel enslaved to schedules rather than empowered by them. But the clock is not meant to be a taskmaster. It is meant to be a tool. When you manage it with intention, it bends to your will, helping you accomplish what you set out to achieve. It is not pressing you down. It is waiting to be instructed. Every hour is like a container, and it will hold whatever you choose to put in it. If you fill it with distraction, you will have nothing valuable to show for it. If you fill it with learning action or meaningful work, that same hour becomes a servant carrying wealth, wisdom, and progress into your future. The containers keep coming 60 minutes at a time, whether you fill them wisely or not. The choice is always yours. When you shift your mindset to see time as a servant, procrastination loses its grip on you. You no longer see the clock as something you are racing against, but as something that carries your progress forward. Each tick becomes an ally reminding you to take another step, not an enemy mocking you for not moving fast enough. This shift transforms stress into strategy. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you begin to feel empowered because you realize the clock will always deliver results equal to what you've placed inside of it. People often envy those who seem to accomplish so much in the same 24 hours they waste. The difference is not in ability or opportunity, but in how they command their servant called time. The achiever organizes, prioritizes, and executes. The drifter delays, complains, and excuses. The clock serves both faithfully, but the results differ because the instructions differ. Just as a servant can either build or destroy, depending on the orders given, so too does time create abundance or waste, depending on how you direct it. There is also a deep sense of freedom that comes when you take command of your time. Rather than living in constant reaction to the demands of others, you structure your minutes to serve your priorities. You decide what matters, and you order your hours around those decisions. This does not mean rigidity, it means authority. The clock no longer feels like a chain around your neck because you have taken the role of master, assigning each moment a purpose that aligns with your vision. Even rest becomes more powerful when you see the clock as your servant. Rest is not wasted time, it is strategic time. It is the moment when your body and mind recharge so they can serve you more effectively. When rest is intentional, the clock is still working for you, restoring strength and clarity. It is only when rest becomes laziness that time feels like an enemy. Used wisely, even leisure is a servant, adding richness and balance to life rather than stealing from it. This perspective requires discipline because a servant will not serve without instruction. If you leave hours unplanned, they will be claimed by distractions and obligations that do not serve your higher purpose. To treat the clock as your servant, you must live with intention, clarity, and focus. You must take responsibility for how each moment is spent because time will always obey the instructions it is given, whether those instructions are conscious or careless. Ultimately, the clock responds to your leadership. It cannot choose for you. It can only carry out the orders you give it. Each day, you are presented with a fresh set of hours, a team of minutes ready to work. They will either build your dreams or bury them, depending on how you lead. If you treat the clock as your servant, it will carry you to discipline, growth, and fulfillment. If you treat it as your enemy, You will forever feel defeated by something that was meant to serve you faithfully. Now is the only time you have, yet most people live as though tomorrow is promised. They spend today planning to start tomorrow, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for a sign, waiting until they feel ready. But tomorrow is nothing more than a concept, a shadow that has not yet arrived. Yesterday is gone, and no effort can bring it back. The only moment that exists in reality is now, and how you use it determines the quality of your life. When you postpone action to some future moment, you are surrendering the only power you truly have. You cannot control the past, and you cannot guarantee the future, but you can decide what to do right now. The habit of delay convinces you that later will be easier, but later is only an illusion. If you lack discipline now, you will lack it later. If you lack courage now, you will lack it later. The future will only reflect the choices you are making in the present. Every opportunity is wrapped in the present moment. When you hesitate, that opportunity often slips away, never to return in the same form. Doors open and close with the rhythm of time, and those who hesitate often find themselves standing in front of doors that have already been locked. The people who move forward are those who act in the now, seizing the moment before it dissolves. Life does not wait for your convenience. It rewards your decisiveness. Living in the present also frees you from the burden of regret and the weight of worry. Regret anchors you to the past, and worry chains you to the future, but neither of these states has power to change your reality. Action in the present is the only force that can rewrite your story. Dwelling on what you should have done or what might go wrong only paralyzes you. Taking steps now, however small, moves you toward progress and allows momentum to carry you forward. The reason many people waste the present is that they underestimate its value. They think one moment doesn't matter, one choice doesn't matter, one act of discipline or one act of procrastination doesn't matter. Yet the truth is that life is nothing more than the accumulation of present moments. Each decision builds on the last, and the direction of your entire future is shaped by the small choices you make now. Nothing great is ever built in the future. It is always built in the present. Now is also where clarity resides. When you focus on the present, your mind stops spinning between the failures of the past and the fears of the future. You become fully alive in the moment, and in that state, your energy is sharper, your decisions are clearer, and your actions are more effective. You cannot make powerful choices while distracted by what already happened or what has not yet happened. The strength of your decisions comes from being grounded in the moment before you. This moment is also where transformation takes place. Change does not happen in theory or in planning. It happens when you take action in the now. A person does not become disciplined by promising to start tomorrow. They become disciplined by doing the hard thing today. A person does not become strong by intending to work out in the future. They become strong by moving their body today. The only time transformation is possible is in the present, because the present is the only time that exists for action. Now is also where faith is tested and proven. It is easy to believe for a better tomorrow, but true faith is shown when you act in the moment without having all the answers. It is in the present that you demonstrate trust, commitment, and obedience to the path before you. Faith without action in the now is nothing more than hope disguised as procrastination. The real evidence of faith is movement in the moment you are given. Many people think they are waiting on time, but time is waiting on them. The clock delivers opportunities every second, but it cannot act for you. You must decide to take hold of the present and use it wisely. Time will not pause until you are ready, and it will not rewind so you can try again. The moment you have right now is the only place where your decisions matter, and what you do with it determines what the next moment brings. The urgency of now cannot be overstated. Every dream is waiting in the present. Every opportunity is hiding in the present. Every change you wish to see begins in the present. The only time that belongs to you is this very moment, and your willingness to act in it will shape your life in ways that hesitation never could. Discipline transforms minutes into destiny because it gives structure to time and turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. Without discipline, minutes slip away like grains of sand through your fingers, wasted on distractions and impulses that bring no lasting reward. With discipline, those same minutes become building blocks of a vision, each one contributing to a greater picture that shapes the course of your entire life. The difference between a wasted life and a purposeful life often comes down to whether a person disciplines their time or lets it drift away. Discipline is the ability to command yourself when emotions and desires try to pull you in the opposite direction. It is saying no to the urge of comfort so you can say yes to the call of destiny. Every time you practice discipline, you take a minute that could have been lost and turn it into a moment of progress. One disciplined action may not seem like much, but when multiplied across days, months, and years, it creates a path that leads directly to fulfillment and success. Each disciplined choice carries a ripple effect. Waking up early once is just a decision, but waking up early every day develops character. Reading one page is just an act, but reading every day builds wisdom. Saving a little money once is insignificant, but saving consistently creates financial security. Discipline is the force that takes these small acts and compounds them into habits, and habits are what write the story of your destiny. The minutes you discipline are the minutes that build the person you are becoming. The challenge is that discipline rarely feels rewarding in the moment. It often feels like sacrifice, struggle, and restraint. Yet hidden inside that sacrifice is the seed of greatness. The undisciplined person enjoys comfort in the short term, but pays for it with regret in the long term. The disciplined person endures discomfort in the short term, but reaps reward in the long term. Destiny is not built on feelings, but on principles, and discipline ensures that your principles govern your minutes rather than your impulses. Time without discipline leads to drift. A person who allows emotions, distractions, and laziness to govern their minutes will look back years later and wonder where their potential went. On the other hand, a person who applies discipline to their minutes will look back and see a life that steadily climbed toward purpose. The disciplined use of time brings direction, and direction brings momentum. Destiny is not stumbled into by accident. It is carved minute by minute through consistent discipline. Discipline also acts as a filter for your priorities. Without it, everything feels urgent and nothing gets done. With it, you choose what matters and direct your minutes accordingly. Instead of scattering your energy across meaningless tasks, you concentrate your time on the actions that move you closer to your vision. This clarity not only saves you from waste, but also multiplies the impact of every disciplined minute. Focused discipline accelerates progress in ways that scattered effort never could. The power of discipline is that it transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. The same minutes that anyone else might waste on distractions can become investments in growth, learning, and creation when disciplined. A writer who disciplines their minutes into daily writing becomes an author. A musician who disciplines their minutes into daily practice becomes a master. A leader who disciplines their minutes into daily study becomes wise. Destiny is not written in one great leap, but in the disciplined use of moments others treat as disposable. Discipline also builds resilience. When life presents challenges, the disciplined person has habits to fall back on. They do not crumble under pressure because discipline has trained them to endure. Every disciplined minute is like a brick in a fortress, protecting you from being easily shaken. The undisciplined person may fall apart in crisis, but the disciplined person keeps moving forward because their habits carry them even when motivation fades. The transformation of minutes into destiny through discipline requires patience. Results do not come overnight, and many abandon the process because they cannot see immediate change. But just as a farmer does not expect to harvest the day after planting, you must understand that disciplined minutes produce fruit in due season. Each act of discipline is a seed, and over time the harvest becomes undeniable. The destiny you long for is not built in one grand moment, but in countless disciplined moments stacked together. Discipline is the bridge between potential and fulfillment. Everyone is given the same number of minutes in a day, but only those who discipline those minutes unlock the destiny hidden within them. Without discipline, time is wasted, potential is buried, and dreams remain unfulfilled. With discipline, every minute is invested, every habit is purposeful, and every choice builds toward the life you were created to live.